Hi there, welcome to Follow We Will Legends podcast, episode 2 this Monday evening with myself, Lynsey Glenn and Stan Gordon, featuring the greatest ever Rangers legends as our special guests, Rangers supporters clubs and bars from all around the world. Sponsored by Avia Signs, from concept to completion, developing, manufacturing and installing quality signage throughout the UK with clients like Glasgow Rangers Football Club and Castore, just to name a few. You can visit their website at aviasigns.com. Also, we have our associate sponsors of the show. Check out their social media pages too. Spotlight Events, Ernock Builders, Country Carpets, Hepburn Electrics, Milncroft Construction, First Class Memorabilia, Pollock Projects, The Gallant Pioneer in Blackpool, and Off to the Match I Go. Also remember, if you're on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe to our show, or if you're on any other platform, remember to comment and share, especially when we're live. Now the formalities are all done, let's welcome our very special guest onto tonight's podcast with Guess the Legend this week, and the winner will be announced later this evening. His dad played for Aston Villa, Chelsea and Liverpool. Joined in the studio with us tonight, we have ex-Ranger and club legend, Mark Hateley. How are you, Mark? It's lovely to have you here with us.
Doing fine. Nice to get out of the house, get that nagging out my ear. You know, what we've had for 18 months being in the house and doing nothing. It's nice to get out and get some fresh air. It's
lovely to have you here. Thanks very much for joining us. Also, we have linking into the show this evening, we have Alistair Aird, who has written Mark's book, Hitting the Mark, set for release on the 25th of November this month. Follow at Aird Books for more information. Hi, Alistair, are you with us? Are you here this evening? How are you doing?
Hi, everybody. How are you doing? All right.
Still, Alistair, great to have you with us.
Lynsey, I'm still basking in the glory of yesterday, if I'm being honest. A fantastic, magnificent performance. Long time coming this season, I think everybody would agree. But yeah, we were fantastic yesterday. So I'm still dining out in that, if I'm being honest. So yeah,
great.
A good day yesterday.
Yes, definitely.
I'll say one thing about yesterday. I was down in London and we were coming back up the road and I was watching it on my phone. And over the last 18 months, I don't know if you've ever seen me on Facebook or anything, but I always give Tavernier a hard time. I don't think he's been doing enough. Last season, when it was a lockdown, he proved me wrong. But I thought he started this season terrible again. And everybody in my pub gives me an absolute hard time about it. And I was sitting and I had it on my phone and I was about maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds behind the live stream. And it just popped up on my phone, go on the captain. And I went like that to Wally Johnson and Constantine. I said, Tavernier's just scored there. How do you know? I said, I'll tell you. And then he just see him hitting a rasper right into the corner. So he's proved me wrong again. You know,
magnificent finish.
It just shows you.
Such a difficult technique as well. And I'm doing a bit of work in the last couple of days on his numbers and whatever. He's sitting on 99 assists for Rangers. And he's got 68 goals, which for a fullback's a phenomenal record. And yeah, I would agree with you, Stan. I don't think he started the season particularly well. And I felt coming up to the penalty kick last Wednesday night against Aberdeen, had he missed the penalty, it could have gone the complete opposite way for him, because I don't think he had a particularly good game last Wednesday either. But yesterday, he was phenomenal yesterday. And a guy that was player of the year last year, now hopefully get a consistent run like that out of him, because you would think that with a young lad like Nathan Patterson breathing down his neck, it would sort of push him onto that level that we know he's capable of. But yeah, it was excellent yesterday, as indeed.
It's all about levels, though, Alistair. All about levels when you're playing for Glasgow Rangers. You set the bar very, very high, and then the expectations of reaching that, if you don't, you know, it's always going to be a bad season. You know, it is. That's how it is. You know, the 9 in a row, boys. Championship. Oh. We just got over the line, didn't we, this year? They'll all be moaning, you know, all shouting from behind the manager's box. Come on, Walter. Come on, Archie. What's happening with the team? You win another championship. Up and down and up and down. So, yeah, but that's it. They're all levels of expectation. But that's what it's all about. That's why you have high standards when you're playing for Glasgow Rangers.
I remember Stuart McCall saying that even going through your times here at Rangers, you've always had dips in the season that there were 3 or 4 games and that the fans would get in your back. But you still went on to produce, didn't you? You said that winning mentality at that time that you were confident you were going to win every game.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a captain that kept driving you. You know, if somebody was stepping off, you'd normally kick up the backside, or it could have been even sore the other way around. That's how it was. That's how it was in our dressing room. You know, it's a different sort of breed of footballer. But as I say, I think that result, as Stephen has been saying, it's in the team. You know, somebody was going to get that. I know I was out with a couple of the boys yesterday raising a glass for Walter, and I said, as soon as it went to 1-1, this is going to be 5 or 6.
Yeah,
because that's how it goes, you know. And bump. I know they had a man sent off, but it has still been 5 or 6 because that's just the way it was going.
Yeah, I know. I was really pleased with him yesterday. Really, definitely. Got yourself now, Mark. You started young with Portsmouth. As a young man, and you get snapped up by one of the best teams in not just Europe in the world, AC Milan. How did that come about, going to AC Milan, and how was it in Italy? How did you find it going there as a young man?
Well, it goes back to Coventry. That's where I started my career. Okay, that's coming off the back of Brian Clough telling me I'd never be a footballer. And go and find a job in the council, young man. Actual words. So. You know, I went over to Coventry. Dad knew Gordon Milnovich from his Liverpool days. Got taken on, signed pro in that 2 months after I'd been taken on the old apprenticeship, scholarship, whatever you want to call it. And then played that first year in the first team. And then I slowly established myself as a left winger, basically, because we had Mick Ferguson, who was a big centre forward, and Gary Thompson, who was a year or so older than me. Came through the youth team just in front of me. So to get a game, I put myself out on the left wing, and that's where it went from. So the move to Portsmouth was a big grub. I grew up there with my dad. Never moved down the league, son, he said, because it's always hard to get back out into the top flight. But it was a place that I felt I could get out my dad's shadow, and that's what I'd always wanted to do. I needed to do that as quickly as possible because always being compared to your dad is a big heavyweight, especially when your dad's first £100,000 signing, scores 260 league goals in his career, all that sort of stuff. So it was a big thing. But I've made my mind up. I wanted to go to Portsmouth. I spoke to the people, Bobby Campbell, ex-Chelsea manager, who made it quite clear that I was his number 9, and I would be playing along the guy who was like a journeyman, but a guy called Alan Biley. It'd be a miniature Rod Stewart. You know, he had that hairdo and all that sort of stuff. But he'd played for Derby County and he'd played at Everton, and he's you know, big guy, small guy, and that became where the story started really. England under 21s all started in that season. Scored a lot of goals. For the under-21s, went to an under-21 final, beat Spain, scored in the final. Still, I think that's the last under-21 England group that won that competition back in '84. And then became top goal scorer and scored, 24 goals in 32 games. Alistair will keep you right on all them stats. Won golden player of that under-21 tournament. Rudy Voller won it the year before. So all of a sudden, I'd gone playing a second division football club. Yeah. Right. Never spoke to my dad for nearly 9 months because he was annoyed I'd gone down there. Right. And then you get that phone call. You get a phone call to meet up for the triangular tournament that they had at Wembley at the end of the season. And I thought I'm just going to get push the skips around, pick the kits up, put the kits out, get that a bit of experience. And Bobby gave me the opportunity to have a 10 minutes and a 5 minutes, against Russia and Colombia and all that sort of stuff. And I thought that was it. My summer's finished. And this leads into the Brazil goal. We go over to. I get a phone call going over to Brazil. I think this is ridiculous. So I'm going to say 8 months ago, I'm second division football. Yeah. Nothing's happening. Enjoying my football, and all of a sudden I'm going over. Purely to push skips around and watch how top pros act when they're away on tour. So we get there, we do the training, all that sort of stuff. And the day before, centre forward gets an injury, and then they get the arm from Bobby Robson. He says, "Tomorrow night, son, you're going to be playing against Brazil." Happy days. So it was one of them. And, you know, the rest is history, as they say. John Barnes scored that fantastic goal, wiggly all the way through. I'm having an assist on that one, taking that. And then he pops one up for me on the far post, old-fashioned centre forward, pop on but nobody ever remembers that because of the Barnes goal, the John Barnes goal. But that caught the eye of AC Milan, who were looking. They were looking for a 9, and back in that day, all they did was look through the leagues, see who was scoring a lot of goals, and that's what they did with Luther Blissett the year before. Didn't work out for Luther, but they went back into the British market looking for something similar, and that's where they came up with me. And so literally 4 days later, after scoring that goal, I'm signing for AC Milan from 2nd Division Portsmouth. And that's how it happened. There was like a mad 3 months of winning the under-21, playing for England, scoring, and it's all boom, change your life.
A lot of people say don't go out and play on international games.
I'm going to say, never always listen to what your dad has to say to you. That's another thing, okay?
But yeah, when you went there, you scored the winning goal against Inter Milan. And obviously, it's an old firm there, but are they a big difference?
No, there is as much hatred out there. Honestly, it was a dangerous place to be. 80, I think it was 92,000 in my folder, because it was the seating, but there was nobody sitting down. Everybody was standing up. You couldn't see emergency exits; they were full. And it was one of those that it was a long time Milan result coming, because they had the discrepancies of going down the leagues, betting and all that sort of stuff. They come back, and it's one of those when everything comes together, all the planets align for you. You know, it was still in that period of that 3 months, everything was coming together, boom, lining up. Colavati was the ex-Milan captain who jumped ship when we got relegated down the leagues. He was Italy stalwart and a half. So you couldn't have wrote the script any better. I'm playing up against a guy that jumped ship, against the biggest opposition that you're going to get, without a shadow of a doubt. And on the day, it worked out for me. I was in the right place at the right time. As I say, once you're up there and the fans are with you, it's like the Aberdeen game last 1990. Once you have the fans with you, it's easy. You can still have an offish game as long as you're running around and tackling and putting yourself about and being a problem. And the fans are always with you, because fans are fans, and they like to see that. And that's all. That's what I did. Toned it down a little bit and scored the goal, and then boom. And that's it. Still on that pedestal.
Yeah. Well, the first question I've got for you, Mark, is I need to ask what your memories are of Walter Smith.
I knew Walter obviously before he was that manager. We used to see him from Monday to Friday, Saturdays. Graham would probably be more of the influential man from Thursday to Saturday, while Walter was doing all the work with the boys. So we all the boys, and we know what Walter's strengths and weaknesses were. He's a fantastic listener, right? And he understood everybody. That's why he knew what everybody individuals wanted. And it's the hardest week I had last week, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I seen the photograph there, along with the goalie and the boys and that yesterday.
Yeah.
I was at the game on Wednesday with the goalie, and it was nice to see.
No, I couldn't have done it.
And I seen Gordon Jury, and it was the same.
It's the same, and that's the effect.
And it was horrible to see them.
It is still very emotionally raw. It is, because his kids. They used to come to Choco with us, and you're like a family member. We're all family members at that particular period, and he had everything. He had something for everybody. Whether it was a boot up the backside, or he knew how to deal with it,
Well, that's a sign of a good manager, they say, when they know what you get about up the bum.
He knows when to talk and when not to talk. But he's a great listener. I sat and listened. We had a party after an Old Firm game on January 1st, 2nd. I can't remember, at my first house in Mulgai. And I had all the boys round and all that sort of stuff. And, as they do, boys wander off. And the night finishes, I'm going to say about 3 o'clock. And myself and Walter sat in the back room in front of a roaring fire with a bottle of beer and a wee whiskey and a cigar. And we sat talking. Till about 6 o'clock in the morning, just about football and about how the differences were in where I was and where I'd been and all that sort of stuff, to how it was, and how it was when I was a kid going away from that type of coaching, and which was negligent to say the least. The coaching abroad was the making of me,
I think so, yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Do you not think Souness kind of brought a wee bit of the Italian coaching realm to Rangers? Because
the understanding,
and then
diet and how you train and all that sort of stuff. But don't forget, you're trying to bring that into a British team that had not even tasted anything like that, warm-ups, warm-downs, all that sort of stuff. It's all new.
I don't know if you were in the squad at the time, but I can remember Coisty telling us one of the games, and I think you would have been there, they were going to play abroad, and when he had brought that kind of eating and diet over with him, he had a meeting with the team before he's travelled, and I think he's were going to, it might have been Russia, or it might have been even the run we had in the Champions League, the first one. And he said, we're going to get our own chefs to come, and we're going to get our own baskets of food made up. He says, because Ray Wilkins will tell you one of the times.
That would be before me.
Was it before?
Because Ray was away. Ray was away before I came.
So he said, we're going to get our own baskets of food. We're taking our own chef along these. He says, because Ray will tell you the last time when we were playing together at Sampdoria, they tried to poison him at one of the games. He said they poisoned the chicken, and Coisty went like, I suspect foul play there, boss. And it was like he was going to kill him, wasn't he?
It'd be one of them locks. Right.
Yeah. But no, and then you moved on to Monaco then, Monaco as you call it. And how was that? I mean, that's absolutely fantastic setting.
It's a completely different culture to where I'd come from, because I was in a position where I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go out of the house or do anything. I was just training ground, stadium. And I knew a guy that I stayed in a little like market town between the two. And there was a nice little restaurant there. I got to know the owner, so I'd phone up and get into that restaurant. And that was my life. It was completely, we was in Retiro. Retiro is, Milanello, because they've got all the lads had their own rooms, TVs and all that. So you'd be in Retiro from Thursday, Friday, Saturday for a Sunday game. So you're away, you're training, you're focusing on the game and all that sort of stuff. So you got 3 or 4 of them days where you're away anyway, and then you're locked up, and you got people lining up outside your house every day to get pictures and all this sort of stuff. So going from that to Monaco was completely open. Everything was open to me, I'm just trying to find out where Prince Albert is staying, so take him out for a beer, because that's how close it was. So that enabled then the family to sort of enjoy the outdoor life. Completely different, but it was a different, completely in stadium. Hardly any people coming in to watch the games. I think through the summer, the start of the seasons were good because you had the tourists there that would come and watch the games, and then you get into, I'm going to say, September, October, and just fade away down to 2,000-3,000 people. So self-motivation kicks in. But we had a great team, and as I say, a very, very young Arsene Wenger, who was probably 36 at the time. So fabulous guy. Very driven, very intelligent, exploring everything you could think about to take the game of football forward, and performances and how to get performance levels up and all this stuff. It was an incredibly, I'm going to say, driven tracksuit on all the time, stopwatch around him, walks around with the ball. You never saw him in normal gear, And day off, he would go to Germany and watch a third division game or something or other.
Yeah,
that's how he was.
Yeah.
So it was a different culture, different way of playing football. But I must say, I did have a fantastic team. I played in Patrick Battiston, Jean-Luc Hectory, Amoros, Luc Sonor, Patrick Mage, Jean-Philippe Roux, all international players. I got to play with Ramon Diaz, that was Maradona's partner for Argentina, for a couple of seasons. And then, unfortunately for me, we won the league. And then I played in the Euros in '88 and came back from that, and then had a really bad injury.
Yeah, and a lot of me being a Rangers fan, as you know, and when you came to Rangers, it was just coming back for an injury, and a lot of people thought it took you a lot of time to get going again. But I came back for it great.
It took me a lot. It took me longer than I thought. I thought it would take me a dozen games because I was fit and strong, all that. But you see, when they say match fit, it's all about not thinking about what you're having to do. It's all coming naturally. It's like driving a car. You know what you're doing. You're looking wing mirrors, all that sort of stuff. It's all second nature. And I thought about 12 games, and it was probably 20 odd games. February, I'm going to say February-ish. I was having the odd game where it was good, and then a couple of games when it was a bit like that. And so the February, I'm going to say February, mid-February, and everything, I can't remember the game, but it just went boom. It was just, it was all absolutely everything.
And
it just clicked in. And that's, as I say, when you're running for championships and cup finals and trophies, that's when you want your players going from February to May. Flat out. And I just fell into that. And as I say, the Aberdeen game, and that just cemented everything, I think.
Well, listen, you came that season, but walking into the dressing room, you've been to Italy and you've been to France, Monaco, playing in the French league, you've won leagues there. And then you walk into a dressing room with guys like Ali McCoist, Ian Durrant, and guys. How different was that? The Scottish mentality.
No, but it's not. I'd savoured that with the British dressing room. Whatever club you go to, footballers are the same. They have the same sort of mentality and same sort of humour. That's what you miss when you're playing in Europe. You don't have that humour.
Yeah.
But listen, I was sandwiched between, because the dressing room is 1 to 9 and all the way around, and you had your own number. But then I'm 10, so I've got McCoist and I got Durrant either side of me. I got Ian Ferguson one down from McCoist. Can you imagine that corner on a Monday morning? And that's all I'm going to say about a Monday morning.
I wouldn't like to imagine. I mean, I've interviewed, as you know, Durrant. He was on here 2 weeks ago. Doing interviews, and they had such a laugh going through playing 9 in a row. I think that makes a big difference when you have a half a dressing room. And I've even heard Richard Gough saying guys that drink together, win together. And it's a different mentality completely. What you're seeing in Italy, you didn't get out of the house, and the paparazzi's here, they're wanting autographs and photos all the time. You come to Rangers, and it's a wee bit more relaxed, but they're winning things. They still managed to perform on a Saturday, and I think Walter gave them a wee bit of leeway to have relaxing time.
It's called trust.
Yeah.
That's what the manager did. He trusted the players, and the players trusted the manager. And see, when you've got trust both ways, boom.
Yeah. And he had a lot of players there. Walter, we touched on there the now. He had a lot of players that he had to control. Your guys and guys.
See, that's when he trusted the players. The players controlled themselves as well. I mean, sometimes it would step over where you would need, but not very often. The dressing room would sort the dressing room out.
Yeah,
right? We had characters in the dressing room that would take not a lot of time to sort something out. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
And there's half a dozen of those guys in there. So it was self-policing. In the book, Graham does a nice bit about that and the difference it was when he went to Liverpool. So That's an interesting read.
Yeah,
I don't want to say too much about that because
Can I ask a quick question, Mark? Do you think that it took a wee while or so to win over the Rangers fans because Walter chose you and Maurice Johnston, and rather than like you and Ali McCoist?
Well, Graham did it. Graham initially, but I think Graham saw in Alistair what I saw, and literally within a jig time of being at the club and in training, I couldn't understand why Alistair was only scoring mid-20s. He's an unbelievable finisher. He was a finisher. And I think Graham probably saw that as well and was frustrated that because Graham was always striving to be better and be the best he could be at any given moment. And that's what great players do. They just park everything. If you have a good game, you've scored, don't matter about that. Forget about that. I want to be better next week. And that's what Graham was like. And that's you probably saw that in Alistair. And I saw it straight away. I thought, gee whiz, this guy, he's going to score. He's going to score goals here. If he gets that silly, jokey head off and gets a serious head on. And we know Alistair's got that. And he's a very intelligent guy, very intelligent. And I think that's why that happened. I was always going to lead the line. And it was going to be one or the other that was going to play with me. But Maurice wasn't the ideal player to play with me because he roamed too far from me. If I'm making space for a goal scorer, as Alistair was, then they had to be within 15 yards, no further than 15 yards away from me all the time. And that's how it worked.
And he had the kind of knack to read where you were going to put a ball down, and
because he only looked at me, he didn't look where the ball was coming from. That's what smart people do. That's what it's a team.
He did.
It's a partnership. Strengths and weaknesses. That's what makes a great partnership.
And the game you're talking about there against Aberdeen, we get beat by Motherwell the week before. I was up at Motherwell, and I think they had to win about 3 times, didn't we? And we went away and we lost, and I think we all thought we were going to win the league that day. And then it needs us to get a win then, and we go and we do it. And I know for a fact, because we Bomber been with Westgate and that you were injury ridden.
Yeah, as you normally are when you go to the end. We played that many games, and the squad was pretty small in comparison to where we are right now. You had a lot of players playing for, I think we've looked at the stats and all that sort of stuff, and we was averaging like 55, 62 games a season. Yeah. Some of the players, 5 or 6 of the players were doing that year in, year out. And that takes its toll without a shadow of a doubt. You can only go so far on the physical limits. And that's where we were at, right at that stage. I think in that game, was it Tom Cowan broke his leg?
And they didn't know, didn't he?
Didn't know. Yeah. Bomber ruptured Achilles.
Yeah, and he knew he'd get a jag in the morning, didn't he? He got a jag and he couldn't go out his bath. And they gave him a jag. And what a lot of people don't know in the game either was he went off when he had that Achilles. You're probably...
I've had one. I know what they're like.
He hobbled out to the tunnel, and Mark Walters shouted out to the gaffer, I think I've got a wee slight pull in my calf here, and Bomber went half his back. You've got and then he crosses the body for you to score at the header, and it could have easy enough of an half, you needed them, you needed and guys like in the dressing room. I mean, you've got guys like Bomber and Goff and yourself.
Ian Ferguson, Goffey, Durant, McCoist. You just went through it. Goalie when he came.
Ian Ferguson. One of the winners. Yeah.
Mark, you've probably played with 2 of the best wingers in the last 30, 40 years at Ibrox, Walters and Laudrup. How much do you feel that they complemented your game?
Yeah, I think good players quickly get together and play good football. And I think that's how the standard builds. I think they're intelligent enough. Sometimes you have to have words. I mean, initially, when I come out and say this, when Brian first came, he was check, checking the ball back, and you make a run, you make another run, and you got me and McCoist, breathing out our backsides after 10 minutes, made that many runs and no ball. So you have that conversation, but you're confident enough to have that conversation with somebody of that quality, to be able to relay what's good and what's not good for the team. You know, so you've got two guys in the middle that will score goals all day long. Right, you do your bit, we'll do our bit, and then we'll go home and have a drink. That's in layman's terms. And everybody that did come to the club listened, went on to have good careers at the club.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, because it's you need to find, you know, what Rangers is all about, and the intelligent ones get it, and then some of the difficult ones that don't really get it, and it's an individual thing. It's never individual when you're playing for Glasgow Rangers.
No, well, what I was going to do was that's just about half time. So we did run a wee competition on our Follow We Will page. Stan had put up that was Guess the Legend. Obviously, we had said, gave a clue who your dad played with. So we did get some names in, and I've got all the names here. So I'm going to ask you to pick a wee number.
Number 10.
Number 10, there we go.
That's fitting.
So number 10, we've got Alan Clark. So Alan Clark, you're the winner of Mark Hateley's new book that will be released on the 25th of November. It'll be a signed copy of the book. So get in touch with us, Alan Clark. You are the winner of the book. Well done.
Just as we carry on, what we're going to do, I've got a Follow We Will book. I'll get Mark to sign it. And what we'll do is, whoever puts in the best question to Mark tonight, Mark will say, I like that question coming in when we do that. And we'll get that sent after you stay. It'll be a Follow We Will book.
Good little stories.
There's some good stories in it, definitely. And Mark, you come back. Before we tell you about coming, we talk about you coming back. What about the 92-93 season? I'm 59 just now, and that's probably the best season I have ever watched.
I can't believe you're not older than me.
Usually people say it the other way.
I'm 60 on Saturday. I am indeed.
Yep.
No, Sunday, sorry.
Sunday. Well, that's the best season ever as a Glasgow Rangers player. I was only young when they won the Cup Winners' Cup. I've seen Helicopter Sunday. But that run, I mean, we done the treble that year. Was that not the year we done about 42 games?
On a colossal run.
How good was that season? Is that probably your best season ever?
It was like a season and a half, was it not? It was like it ran from March into right through and then through a European campaign as well, unbeaten in the European campaign. It was, I mean, that's what you play professional sport to do, to be successful every time you play. And we did that. We beat absolutely massive teams, monster teams in the process of doing that as well. And we just went about our business, and we just went from game to game to game to game.
Well, the big one was Leeds United. And yourself, being English and playing down south, and then we got Leeds United, and at that time Leeds United were the best
monster team. Some players.
The midfield, they had David Batty, Gary Strachan, Gary McAllister, and
Gordon Strachan.
Gary McAllister and
Eric Cantona, the Frenchman
up front, and the boy Gary Speed.
Gary Speed,
Probably they were
Davy Rocastle. They're all great players.
Probably they were rated probably the best midfield in Europe at that time. And we were wrote off.
Well, champions of England.
Rangers were wrote off right away as soon as we got them. But even the first game, I mean, I've never heard an atmosphere like that at Ibrox. And Gary McAllister hits a rocket
belter.
Right into the top corner. And I've never heard Ibrox gone as quiet.
I blame the goalie.
I'd be listening to it, by
tell her.
But no, and then we come back into the game and see it too when we went 2-1. We could have actually went further there, and obviously you did the very same as what Gary McAllister done when we went earlier.
Silence the crowd.
But what motivated you away from the game there?
Just the English press. It was a strange day because normally we have a meeting, players have a meeting, management have a meeting, and all that. So none of that happened on the match day. Straight onto the pitch. That normally didn't happen when we got to Ellen Road. We normally straight into the dressing room and then go onto the pitch. Little words were said. As I say, Archie just said everybody went straight on the pitch. Blah, blah, blah. Great, Ellen Road, well, not bad, not as good as Ibrox. Come back in, and then all of a sudden, all the words didn't need to be said because it was all the paper clippings. It was all headlines from the Sundays and the dailies, the English press giving us no chance. I mean, it was right back. Archie the guys had collected everything from to the previous game, first game, right the way through. So there's lots of paper cuttings, right? And that was the team talk. And all you needed to do, we're all changed, all ready to go out. And I think, I don't know if it was, can't remember, Archie or Walter said, "You ready?" And that was it. It was
just go. Yeah. And it must have been strange getting out there and no Rangers fans. Well, supposedly no Rangers fans.
There's always Rangers fans.
There's always,
there was 11 Rangers fans on the pitch to start off with.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I mean, you mentioned Cantona there, and I'm not just saying that. I thought Bomber up against Cantona, probably one of his best games in the Rangers. Eric made his debut against me with 16 for Auxerre in the European game at Milan at San Siro. Yeah, he was like that. He was a skinny mini. What a player! What a great guy. But no, listen, that's what we're all about. That second goal, Alistair's header, I always put that down as the best goal ever I've been involved with in a team, which typified. It just typified what we were about, because we could defend, the goalie'd make saves, we get battered, and we go away and win 1-0 or 2-0. As we did many times going up to Pataudry. Yeah. How many times? Yeah, exactly.
So that was the classic for me, and that's.
I think it was a pass for Gerrard to yourself, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you whipped it in quick.
I flicked it through my legs. Jasper, I bought the fullback right in, so there was loads of space, and that's coming back from my left winger days at Coventry.
Yeah.
So I drag him right in, flick the ball between, and as soon as I flick it to Jasper, I spin and leave the fullback there, and there's loads of gaps. So what I'm trying to do is then drag the centre half out. So that leaves more, because Alistair's not going to come and support me. He's going to run into the box, isn't he, for all the glory. So I'm dry. I poke it, and then I poke it again, and I see Alistair he's still on his way to that far post, beyond the far post, so he can come back. So centre half then has to come and engage with me before he can get for him. I've just let Alistair one-on-one then, and all I've got to do is deliver it. So all I'm going to say, world-class cross for Alistair to score a header, by the way.
It was, as you say, when you think about it, it was a great goal too.
Yeah. That typified what we were all about. We went bang, 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 done.
And then we went into the section then, and the first game.
That's the inaugural league, Champions League.
And the first game we played Marseille, and you'd have probably played against some of the boys when you were there.
Yeah. I always had a good record against them.
And
you can read all about this in the book, by the way.
Yeah,
there's a good story in there.
Are they? Yeah,
it's a good story.
They started great, and if I remember right, I think Big Goffey came off injured, and they brought on Craig Moore. Would that be right? And did the Bono stick in the middle of the park?
I can't remember.
It was Stephen Presley, Stan, that came on at half time.
Stephen
Presley, it was.
It was Alistair.
And they brought Stephen Presley on, and I remember
to play against Rudy Voller.
Yeah, and I remember saying to myself, "Oh no, this isn't going to end up good. Your captain's away off."
And I think Stephen Presley said that to himself as well. This is not going to end up good.
He'd have probably thought he was the best player in the park, like. But I mean, she when you scored it, and then Gary McSwegan scored it.
Gary McSwegan got the first one.
Yeah, and then you scored it. And then when you scored it, I thought we could have won 3 or 4.
Another 5 minutes. If there was been another 5 minutes in that game, we would have won that game.
No, I agree with you. And then we went to.
But then look at the team, Marseille team. What a team that was!
Unbelievable. And then we went to Bruges after that. We got a draw at Bruges where we should have won the game. Yeah. But then yourself and Alistair hardly played in that section because you get suspended for nothing, actually.
Yeah, well, there's a story there as well.
That's one of the questions.
That's a story.
That's a wee question I've got for you.
Well,
if you weren't sent off against Bruges, do you think we could have went on to win the European Cup?
I said to Walt, as soon as the draw, before we kick the ball, we can go right the way to the final here. Because we will not get beat at home, right? And we'll win away from home more than we'll draw away from home. That was the honest words to Walter.
Yeah, and I definitely feel we should have.
Yeah, but we were cheated.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and is that in the book?
You'll read. There's a big chapter on that.
Yeah.
I've got another good one for you. I know there's some questions coming up. There's not many. Just asking you. Ryan Pickering's asking you the best player that you've played with at Rangers.
Oh, I would say Brian.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, Jasper, great player anyway. I mean, we've had so many good players. Obviously, you had Paul Gascoigne there, but Paul was a difficult player for a striker to play with because you didn't know what he was going to do, because he didn't know what he was going to do. So trying to anticipate was really, really hard. Brian was sensational because you knew what he is. You saw his strengths, a lot of strengths, not many weaknesses, but you knew his tricks and you could respond to his movement. And that's why I would say. There
was another question that's come up there, Ricky. I don't know if it's there, the one about Leeds, about the goal. I don't know if you can find that one. Yep, that one there. From John Park, that night at Ellen Road against Leeds. What is Mark's memories of that famous goal?
Not many, because it was such a heavy night afterwards. Listen, the shock of Ian Durant winning the header, right? I think that's what shocked the goalkeeper. The ball dropped to me, and I just had a quick look early in the game, and you couldn't hit it. As soon as it left my foot, I knew it was going in. It was just one of them moments. It's sweet. It's like hitting a golf shot. You know you hit it, and you know where it's going to go. And yeah, it was the ideal start. Yeah, the ideal start it was.
Also as well, so out of these massive games, what, in your opinion, do you think was the most important game or most favourite game to you? And it's 2 different seasons, 6 years apart. So it's the last game of the season when you scored 2 goals against Aberdeen to win us 3 in a row, or the game at Parkhead when you came back to Rangers and we beat Celtic 1-0 when we signed you back from QPR.
No,
is that
the most important one? Would be definitely the 2-0 in 1990.
Yep.
Because if that wouldn't have happened, 9 in a row wouldn't have happened. So everything else.
So everything else. So
on a personal note, that was 1990. That was establishing yourself with the ranks and files with the Rangers, loyal. And once you're in there, you see. My drive was to have everybody in the palm of your hand, right? And the thrill of being able to get 52,000 people up off the seat. Whenever you did something that they liked, and that was either a big tackle, a big hit, or a great goal. So you did it all the time.
Well, you certainly done the trick, because I mean the 1992-93 season, did you not get Player of the Year? You get professional
PFA sports writers, first Englishman to do that for a sports writer, and an Englishman up here in Scotland. For the sports writer, that's an impossibility. That's an impossibility. So yeah, pride of place is that one.
Just as well, Chris Sutton's not involved now.
The only thing I didn't win that year was the Eurovision Song Contest. I won everything else. I had a golden boot and the lot.
And then you get voted into the greatest 11. And when you look at the players you're beside there, your Jim Baxter's and Alistair's there, and Gaza and Laudrup and Goffey, and I mean, you played with a lot of them, and I know when they picked that 11, it's a generation time.
Of course it is. It's a generation pick, right? So in 40 years' time, when they do it, they'll do it again in 40 or 50 years' time.
But it's still phenomenal to get something like that. That must have made you. I mean, you're made with the Rangers fans for life anyway. But for yourself, from a personal point, getting the greatest 11 must be something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be associated with the football club, just on a normal level, is a big thing. A big thing for a professional footballer. But then to be Hall of Fame, all that sort of stuff, best 11. That takes it. When you sit down and you've retired, you sit back and you think, cool, that's an achievement. You don't think about that when you're a player. You never think about that. Well, I never did anyway, because I was too busy focusing on going to make something else.
I remember talking to Mikey Moles and Arthur Newman a couple of years back there, and they said they didn't realise how big a club Glasgow Rangers were. They weren't there.
We don't, until you're in amongst it. I mean, we were in amongst it. I mean, you cast your mind back to when Walter took over. I mean, we would be 3 players would go to one supporters club, three players would
That's
go to
right.
another supporters club,
Yeah.
all on a Saturday night after a game.
Yeah.
And we'd enjoy going.
Yeah.
Because when you have that affinity with a supporter and you know how much it is for the supporter, and you go onto that pitch and you remember talking to him and being with him and how important it is, you get another 25% if you're having an off day, right? Because you have a relationship with the supporters. This is where I get disappointed. See, when Dick Advocaat comes, he sort of shelters all the players away from the fans, and then it's starting to you're starting to take the players away from the club we are.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean,
No, neither could I. That's
I go to probably most of the play of the year nights. You've been there loads yourself, and I noticed there maybe the last 8 or 10, even 10 year, the players are all sitting on their mobile phones. They're not watching the comedian. They're not watching the guest speakers. When you were there,
because we knew everybody in the room. Because we knew everybody in the room.
Exactly. And I'd come out, how you doing, Mark? And people, you would know who was all there.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen now, Mark. And it's a shame, actually.
It is a shame, definitely. And this is one of the things I've always got to just interrupt Stan because he could talk for Scotland, honestly. What it is just sitting on the back of what you were saying there about the fans. And that personal interaction with them. This is a wee bit of fun for you because I've been sitting here with you for the last 45 minutes or so. And I actually had a moment with you 22 years ago.
Did you?
And I do.
Time out.
I do a wee bit of singing here and there. And there was a night that you were at in Jersey, Jersey Rangers Supporters Club.
I remember that.
So I've got some photos for you to have a wee look at on the screen. If Ricky, you could put them up for us.
There you go.
There they are. So you have myself and you in the middle.
We Doddy, the drunkest man in the world that night.
He was there. You've got my dad and myself. I'm doing a wee bit of singing.
Yeah.
And the next day, I think we went to the Temple Bar and we got photos and stuff there as well.
Yeah.
And I think the one at the left there, if you can see, that's Big Scott that used to sing with us. He was on singing that night as well.
What year was that?
I think it was 1999. I think I was only 16.
Jeez,
1999.
I think so. Was it not?
I was not.
It's close to that.
I was away.
It's very close.
In 98.
Yeah, well, my mate that runs the Temple Bar, Rangers Supporters Club, and been there quite a few times. Big James, he buried his mum last week. It was at the funeral, and very, very sad. And he's a big passionate Rangers fan. The Jersey, the Gore's quite a lot. It's a good place to go over, and it's really good.
I just thought I would recall that wee memory for you going to like that, playing for Rangers and
really
going, but playing for the team and actually going to a night, a supporters club night. Yeah. Now it's like legends that go to the nights. It's not the actual team. So for me, that was a very special memory. Even just standing up singing and you were there and coming over to speak to you. And
current players should always be accessible to supporters.
We've done
in my eyes.
Good ones, I've done plenty of good nights like that. But they want to go to book, they want to...
So if Alistair wants to come in... Hi, Alistair. We know you're still there.
Are you still awake, Alistair?
Just if you want to come in and tell us a wee bit about the book that's been released. Yep.
Well, I was working with David Robertson on his autobiography. And something I'd done when I worked with David Wilson was get some testimonials from those that I'd either played with or managed, etc. So I thought I'd do something similar with David. David put me in touch with Mark, and straight off the bat, first conversation we had to talk about David. At the end of that conversation, Mark essentially sounded me out. Mark McCard, I think is what he said, to do something similar for him. So once we get David's over the line, Mark and I started talking, and we have within the next 3 weeks, within the next 3 weeks, going to have something that I think, all biased aside, does more than justice to what's a phenomenal football career, not just with Rangers, but also, Stan, as you alluded to earlier, with Coventry and Portsmouth and Milan and Monaco. And it's roller coaster stuff at times in there because there's been some significant highs within Mark's career, but we've also covered some of the kind of more delicate, darker moments within his career as well. It's someone in my position who does this is something I get huge enjoyment out of, and to get the opportunity to speak to guys like Mark, and obviously through the book, Graham has done the foreword, and Mark managed to get me in touch with Arsene Wenger as well. So I had 25 minutes with Arsene Wenger. And obviously we spoke about Walter earlier. Walter wrote the foreword for Wee Davies' book. Him and Goffey did it for David's book, and obviously he's contributed to Mark's as well. And although he wasn't in the best of health in June, he essentially contacted Mark and said, look, whenever Alistair's ready, I'm good to go for a chat. And we spoke about Mark, and then obviously, as I do, send the stuff through to get signed off, and it was actually the day before the final of the Euros, and I was in the back garden, and phone goes and it's Walter. And for a supporter like me to get a phone call from Walter, and obviously to talk about Mark's book and the contribution to Mark's book, but also to talk about the Euros and to talk about how Rangers are doing just now, and just a humble, dignified guy. I've written some stuff in the last couple of weeks as well about Walter and my own experience. I can't purport to having the same experience with Walter as what the likes of Mark and Coisty and Durante have had, but the dealings I've had with no airs or graces, no. Given the success that he enjoyed, he never took credit for that success. It was always about what the players did. It was always the emphasis on guys like Mark and guys like Alistair and guys like Ian Ferguson, Goffey, whatever. He never, if you like, dined out on I've won 21 trophies as Rangers manager. He remained a humble, as I say, humble, dignified guy. And one of the things that got me, Stan, last Wednesday was sitting at the game when the Deacon Blues dignity came on. I thought, if ever there was a word that summed him up, it was dignity. And so we're digressing a wee bit for the book, but obviously Walter's made a lovely contribution to it as well.
And when does the book come out? When are the book going to be released?
25th, I think.
25th of November. We were supposed to be a wee bit earlier than that, but I waited and waited for a certain Mr. McCoist, who was again notorious with his lateness in terms of making his contribution. But certainly, given the magnitude of his partnership with Mark, I felt it would be remiss not to get a contribution from Alistair. So sorry, I've got a 2-year-old here just now. I do apologise. She's just out of the bath, so it would have been remiss not to get. Right, you going to go and see Mum? Yeah. Okay, Dad will see you in a wee minute. Right, guys, give me a wee minute.
So after that, it's the 25th then. So, and for all the listeners, the book will be out on the 25th, and I'd been away.
That's all right.
He'll be back.
I'd been speaking to yourself, Mark, there, and you're maybe looking at doing some of your book launches in some of the Rangers bars.
Yeah.
You talk about the Loudon, Oswald's, maybe getting to myself and Teddy's, and you could go out with me at Leeds there and Lounge.
Yeah, we're on to Reach tomorrow. Myself and Alistair have got a Zoom call with Reach for their marketing strategy. We've yet to set up a launch place at the moment. We've got to do one of those, so we'll wait to see what they want to do. They might want to do it at a certain place. So we've got all that to sort out in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
For all the listeners here, just we'll be putting the book out the next couple of podcasts, and we'll keep you updated when you're going to. The book's going to be. You're going to have signings. As I said, I was telling Mark earlier, I've done that one main pub, and it was a great success. So I hope when the rest of the pubs get involved, like Lounge 72, my own pub, Loudon, and you get great success.
Yeah, I know what the Rangers fans are like. We like to reminisce.
I've got a couple of wee ones here. It's coming up. What's it? Next week, Lynsey, we're in Blackpool. The 13th of November. You looking forward to that?
Yes, as always. Love that event.
Yeah, I know, and we've got a couple of seats left available still. So contact John Patterson.
That's in the Pleasure Beach and the Paradise.
The Paradise Suite, it's a great event. And what other one did I have? And we've got Spotlight events. There's got Graham Souness, and is it 27th? 26th at the Armadillo. The tickets available for that. So even contact my cell phone, the show, and I'll put you on to Ian at Spotlight if you're looking for tickets for that. I think Alistair and Ian Durant is on with him. I think we touched on it a couple of weeks ago.
Ian, yeah.
Yeah, just a wee quick one before we finish. What do you think? Thursday night
Win.
Do you think much? Do you think much of them? Do you think?
Listen,
Have got
it all sets up for Sparta at home. You're going to get Leon. Hopefully, he'll win again, so they'll be qualified. So when we play them the last game in Leon, they should hopefully play a weakened side. They've already qualified, and if we can get the Bromby, it's all about taking 6 points from Bromby, right? Yeah. All about taking. Sparta will look after itself. That'll be a monster game at Ibrox, monster game. And if you can put that to bed, and you go out to Leon, that's it. That's just, it's straightforward. It's uncomplicated.
Yeah,
we need to win in Bromby, then the Sparta game takes care of itself.
What about yourself, Lindsay?
Definitely, we'll win.
Yeah.
Definitely. Are you going?
I'm going. Yeah, I'm going. I'm looking forward to it. Away on Wednesday, so it's great. I've been with Mark in Europe, and it's absolutely brilliant. See, mixing with the last one I was sat with you was at Porto and the big square thing. Yeah, absolutely amazing, isn't it? And just the
what I remember.
Yeah. My husband won't let me go. He won't take me, David. He refuses to take me.
There's women not allowed to go on the trips. You know that. But no, and then we're back into league business again. Ross County. And we're at home again. So I know we've drew 3 games at home, but I think after Sunday's result, we spoke about it before the show there. I think after Sunday's result, you've got to hope they're going to kick on now. Yeah?
Well, you've got to park that. I mean, that, as I say, Stephen has been saying that result has been coming. Yeah. Somebody has been going to get that, right? So you have to remember how you get that result. I hope we can start keeping clean sheets again, because clean sheets is based on everything. Yeah, if you can keep a clean sheet, you're not going to lose the game. No. So you're still going to be picking up points, and especially in European competitions, 0-0, 1 point. Yeah. Keep moving.
Right.
Keep moving.
No. Yeah. And definitely. So we're looking forward to Thursday, and the next show we'll talk about it again. And
definitely,
Mark, it's been brilliant having you on. And
thanks for having us, guys.
And we'll keep in contact with you regarding the book, and whenever you're doing your wee book launches,
I'll let you know. We'll let it all know. Be all out there on all the social platforms. So we'll have a lot clearer vision of what's happening tomorrow.
We didn't get a lot of questions here, but
no,
you want to pick one for...
we didn't. The Leeds one, probably. The Leeds.
And who was that?
Ricky will put that up for us. Who was that one, Ricky? John Park. If he wants to get in touch with us.
Get in touch, we'll get that.
We'll get the book out to you. Well done. There we go.
Well done, John.
Okay, so thanks very much, everyone, for joining us here tonight on Follow Me Well Legends podcast. It's been a privilege and a pleasure, as always. We look forward to seeing you all tuning in again on Wednesday, the 17th of November, with more amazing surprises, special guests, and looking forward to the next show as well. Details for the link will be available nearer the time. And of course, thank you to our guest this evening, Mark Hateley. Thanks very much for coming on the show, and Alistair Aird for coming on as well. It's been fantastic speaking with the both of you and hearing your stories and all about the book. And I'm sure I speak for everyone when we say we all can't wait to get a copy and read it.
Good stuff.
Definitely. Thanks to Ricky as well, who's sitting in the background, working hard behind the scenes to help the show possible. Thanks again, Ricky. If you have enjoyed the show tonight, get involved by subscribing to our YouTube channel, liking our Twitter, Facebook and Instagram pages from the description below, just to keep you up to date with all that's coming soon. On behalf of us all here in the studio, Mark, Stan, myself and Alistair, he's no longer on with us, I don't think. Good night and God bless. Be back with you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Good night. Bye.